So if you feel like every year that's going by, you're just spinning your wheels and you're not making progress or seeing the success that you want in life, this is the year that we need to get laser focused. I used to waste so much time focused on things out of my control and giving my attention to things beyond my control and outside of my life. And I would just stay in the same place, year after year, just staying in the same place. And once I decided to change that and do the opposite, everything started to move and everything started to change for the better. I decided to basically fill my life with daily tasks that I knew would lead me towards seeing progress and seeing achievement within my life. And I'm going to be doubling down on that this year. I'm going to be doubling down on that strategy. And I think anyone who is willing to implement it or at least give it a try is going to also get great results. So really the first thing is starting to implement things within your life that lead you towards what you want to achieve, right? And I think this year it's going to be important that we focus on some of these things that I'm going to talk about in this video so that we can really start to excel and see some actual progress instead of just wasting time focused on things that don't matter. So first up is optimizing health, okay? Focusing on not only just physical health, but as well as mental health. How are you doing emotionally, spiritually? How are all those things coming together to create a sense of well-being for you? Now, on the physical side of things, when it comes to your body and taking care of yourself, number one is the gym. The gym is key. If you don't feel comfortable going to the gym yet, or you're just in your beginning stages, just finding some way to exercise and begin to build muscle and build that physique that you have always wanted and that you dream of having really gives you a sense of purpose and really will drive you towards focusing on everything to do with achieving that goal. And like I said, you don't have to be in the gym per se. You could just start off even doing body weight training or working out at home, but taking that first step towards becoming a better version of yourself and achieving what you want in terms of how you look and how you feel is going to be something that this year I think we all should really laser focus on and stop making excuses, find the time. Another reason why it's important to focus on this is because it also inspires other people around you. If there's other people that see that you're now going and putting in the work to be healthier and become a better version of yourself, it can also inspire them to jump on that path as well. And so you can have a network effect by deciding to take the time and invest in yourself and invest in your future health by going to the gym or exercising on a regular basis and building muscle and working towards that goal of achieving what you really want. Now, to go along with the gym and working out and becoming healthy and exercise, I think the other really important thing that I see people neglecting is sleep. There's this kind of argument where, okay, sleep is going to be kind of secondary and I'm in the middle of like working 3 jobs or 2 jobs, or I don't have time to get enough sleep. Now, a lot of things surrounding sleep, I'm not saying everybody needs to sleep the same amount of time. You really need to take this year and figure out what times do you sleep best, what times do you sleep deeply, what conditions do you need to sleep deeply. For myself, I've taken the time and figured out certain things where, if I'm in a certain environment, I really can't sleep well. I don't sleep deeply. Even if it's for 8 hours or 7 hours or 9 hours, I'm not sleeping deeply. So taking time to figure out, those conditions and the certain times that you go to bed and wake up, what works for you best is going to be key this year, because sleep affects every aspect of our lives and our body is really trying to repair when we're sleeping. So it makes sense to try to prioritize this as one of your main focuses for health, at least for your physical health this year, because if you don't, you're really just living a subpar life. It's all part of like that whole like hustle culture where you're gonna basically sleep 6 hours or 5 hours just so you can get more work in. And the problem with that, at least what I've experienced, is every time I try to do that, number one, I just feel worse throughout the day. I just don't feel good. And number two, the decisions that you do make are going to be worse because your energy levels are subpar and your mind isn't able to function properly. Your brain isn't able to function properly and make good decisions with a lack of sleep. So if you're working 2 or 3 jobs, or say you're starting to start up 2 businesses, you could potentially and likely will miss opportunities that you would have seen otherwise, or faster or better ways to build your business, or working at your job, whether it's like getting that promotion or maybe finding a new job. You will miss opportunities because of the fact that you're so deprived on sleep. Your brain isn't as sharp as it would be normally. So this whole thing of like, we'll sleep less and work more, I don't see it working long term, because you're essentially just trading short-term benefit, and it's not even really that much of a benefit, because you're essentially making worse decisions when you have less sleep. Also, when it comes to sleep, don't necessarily just take what you hear and apply it. Not everybody needs 8 hours of sleep. Not everybody needs, to go to bed at the same time. We all kind of have a different circadian rhythm. So figure out what yours is, whether that's going to bed at 12 and waking up at 8, or, you go to bed at like 8 and wake up at 4, or maybe you only need 7 hours of sleep. You just need to find where do you operate best out of, and where do you feel the most restored when you wake up. Diet also plays a key element in your physical health. So many people eat food that is really subpar, and then they wonder why they aren't getting the results in the gym, or their head is all foggy in the morning. And a lot of this has to do with what you're consuming in your body, because you are what you eat. So if you're constantly just eating like food that's like not good energy, and you're putting it in and it's low on nutrients, it's not whole foods, you're going to suffer from that. You can't just put low quality fuel into your body and expect high output. It doesn't really work that way. I think everybody, again, needs to experiment, just like with sleep, to find what works best for you. Try different diets. You can try keto, you can try low carb, carnivore, any of these diets. Give it a try and just see what's different. But for me, what works best for me, and I found, is finding just like whole foods that are in their simplest form, that aren't overly processed. And I personally prefer to get like food that's non-GMO or organic, which I know is pretty expensive, especially right now. It's super expensive, and a lot of people can't afford to get that, which is okay. But even if you can just focus on getting like whole foods in their more raw form, you're gonna get a lot more nutrients out of that, and you're gonna see your energy levels rise, and you're just gonna feel better day to day. So don't neglect your diet, and don't think that you can just walk around and expect to get great results in the gym and feel great and make good decisions when you're putting essentially bad energy and bad fuel into your body. So those are all things to consider when it comes to your physical health. And if you can even just get a few of those down this year and just even improve a little bit, I think you'll definitely notice a major upgrade in terms of how you're feeling day to day and your overall life. So I know I certainly did when I actually took the time to just kind of figure out some of these things that people just don't really pay attention to, and they wonder why they feel like shit. Other part of yourself, it's like your mental health, your spiritual health, emotional, don't neglect these things, because they're really important, and they may be even more important than your physical health, because your mindset essentially is everything. Your mind is the most powerful tool that you have. And so if you can really clear your mind and get your mind clear and focused on some of the things that you want, get it out of a state of stress and worry, that's going to be extremely important. So if you have to, take the time to meditate, start practicing meditation, start practicing different kinds of meditation that will help you to focus, that will help you to be more creative, that will help you relieve stress. The other thing that you can do is begin journaling. Journaling is something that will really help you get your thoughts out of your mind and constantly thinking and overthinking and spinning thoughts, and just put it down onto paper and start writing every day. Even if it's just free form journaling, like, how are you feeling today? What did you do today? How did things go? Was there anything really noticeable that stuck out to you? And this is how you kind of begin to let all the thoughts and emotions and things that you may have kept in, kind of let it out and start flowing out into a journal or a piece of paper, because not everyone has someone to talk to about it, or ideas to bounce off of people. And journaling is extremely helpful for me. Like, from the moment you first start journaling to becoming more advanced, like after you've done it for 6 months to a year, it's amazing how easy it is for you to think about things and really just put them out on paper in a more organized way. and it really helps you to organize your thoughts a lot better and get more mental clarity about what you're thinking. So don't neglect to journal. It's really important, I think, for us guys to especially don't neglect our mental health. Don't neglect how we're feeling emotionally. Take the time to sort out the innermost parts of yourself, because that is going to basically exponentially boost your productivity and your ability to achieve success. So, focusing on health this year, all of those things are going to take up a lot of time. We only got so much time during the day, but the more that we can focus on the things that we can control and what is actually going to, give us progress towards becoming better versions of ourselves, the more time we don't spend being distracted by things that don't matter, right? The more time you spend giving your attention to things outside of what you can control, the more time you're wasting not investing into yourself and making yourself better. So the next step is really to strive for wealth. Don't just be content with where you are, because society, as we're moving on, inflation is going higher and higher. And just when you go to the grocery store now and go to get something, it's like, if you get like a stick of butter or like a dozen eggs, it's like $10. And it's like, well, wages aren't going up, so you're not really going to be able to just maintain the same lifestyle forever, right? If you stay here and everything else is going up in price, well, that actually means that you're going down, right? So start to really think about the importance of becoming someone who doesn't really have to worry so much about money, and you're making enough income that you can live the lifestyle that you want without being worried, because the worry of financial stress is definitely one of the biggest ones. And if you're constantly under the worry of, can you pay your bills? Can you get the food that you want? All of these things are going to negatively impact your mental state and your physical state. So yeah, trying to build our wealth and our income so that we can actually provide for our family and for ourselves in a way where we don't have to be stressed out is going to be key this year. And I think that's really important, whether you have a job or you have a business. Starting your own business is very difficult and it's not for everybody, but that is one way that you can really start to increase your income as well as your freedom. And if you're more of someone who enjoys your job, or you like your job, or you just feel more comfortable there and that's where you want to stay, then I think that it's really important that you find ways to increase your income, whether that be finding a new job or getting like some sort of promotion or increasing your skills, because as time's going on, things are just getting more and more expensive and our wages are basically just staying the same. So you have to find new ways to create income for yourself to compensate for that. And it just wastes so much wasted time and energy worrying about, financial stuff, that it's like, might as well put in the work now and get yourself to a point where you don't need to really worry about that anymore. So one thing that I'm focusing on this year is starting to really build up my own streams of income, because really, to be honest, working a job, you're still kind of trapped. Even if you make a ton of money, you're not really going to be that free, right? You still have to ask for time off. You still might get fired, and you're still relying on someone else to create an income for you. Now, there's a lot of people that say, oh, well, having a job is fine and it's not that bad. And yeah, there's a lot of people who aren't going to start their own business, but I think that if you have the wherewithal to start a business, that you should really push for that, because it's going to give you the ultimate freedom and doing something that you really enjoy without needing to worry about the fact that someone else kind of controls your income. If you do go down the path of business, then some things I just want to mention, just as some things that I've learned to consider as factors in terms of a business that really kind of changed my whole perspective on how I make money, is start thinking about, if you're going to start a business, think about doing it in a location independent way, meaning it can be done from anywhere in the world. So maybe all you need to do that would be your laptop or your phone or a tablet. Start thinking about ways that you can make income from a location independent way, because as things go on, and as we've seen over these past couple of years, things get really crazy, and I don't think that things are going to be getting any less crazy anytime soon, because I've done things in the past where I'm self-employed that are location dependent, and if I need to move somewhere else, I have to completely restart my business, which just doesn't make sense in the modern times. So just think about, if you're going to start your own business and you're going to go down that route, just think about how can you do that in a way where you can do it from anywhere. So these are two major areas I think that we should be focusing on: our health, our physical, mental health, and getting at the point where, we're making enough, at least just enough to cover our bills from, a business that's hopefully, you can do from anywhere, or, you've gotten to the point where you have a job that you enjoy, where you're making enough money where you don't have to worry so much about just paying your bills and the day-to-day struggles of financial life. Now, in order to accomplish these things, it's going to be basically impossible unless you eliminate distractions. I've made more progress than I ever have because I've actually taken the time to start eliminating distractions and taking that time and focusing on things, again, that I can control. So, for example, taking time to watch content that's going to help you along your journey, right? Taking time to watch content that's going to help you achieve your goals and get you closer to the lifestyle you want to live, versus wasting time just watching like entertainment content, TV, and just wasting time, even on video games, which, again, there's nothing wrong with those if you're taking a small part of your day at the end, after you've done with your work and stuff, to do that and just relax. There's nothing wrong with that. But mindlessly consuming all day, is just not going to allow you to have the motivation, the drive, or really feel the need and the pain to focus on building these things. Because becoming a healthier person, building the body of your dreams of whatever you want to achieve, becoming healthier and better with your diet, starting to make more money, these are all things that require a lot of time and energy. And if you're wasting that time doing other things that don't really matter, you're not going to do it. You're just not going to have the time to achieve it. Like, logistically, there isn't enough time. Instead of focusing on the distraction, instead of focusing on like, okay, I'm not going to watch TV today, if instead you just fill up your time with like, okay, I'm spending 2 hours at the gym today, I need to get to bed on time tonight, I need to take an hour or two to work on my business or finding a new job that pays me more. That's going to be a better way, and that's what's worked for me, is to focus on what matters, and then you don't even have time to even think about all the distractions, right? The distractions really just kind of fade away into the background because you're so focused on doing that thing that is going to get you to the next level. Also, beware of consuming too much news when it comes to events or things going on in the world or politics, because, again, all of those factors are outside of your control. And I'm not saying like bury your head in the sand and don't pay any attention, but usually if something's important enough, it will come across to you, it'll come across the airwaves, because everybody else is watching TV and spending time on politics and the news and all that. And if it's something that's really important that happens, usually it'll make its way to you and you don't even need to be spending the time watching and looking at all these things. It's all a distraction to keep you from being able to achieve your maximum potential. So if you're going to spend a bunch of time wasting it on that, well, you're not going to be able, you're forfeiting your time and attention to work on other things. So if you want to achieve wealth this year and you want to achieve health, you're going to have to cut out a certain amount of just sitting there watching the news, consuming, politics and all this stuff. It's too distracting. Then lastly, when it comes to distractions, is not eliminating, but getting away from people who aren't on the same path as you. And this is going to be a difficult one because a lot of times you'll have friends, possibly even family, who aren't on the same trajectory as you, and they're not really interested either. They just want to continue doing what they're doing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if you spend too much time around those kind of people, right, it's going to slow down your progress, and their energy is going to affect you, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Spending time around those kind of people isn't going to pull you up. It's just going to either keep you the same or, at worst, drag you down. So it's better off, in my opinion, when you're working on these kind of things and really trying to push forward and improve, to either find people who are also doing it. Even if you have a friend who just goes to the gym, going alongside them or spending time with them, they've already taken the decision and the initiative to try to improve their life in some way. If you see somebody working on something that's improving themselves, right, in some way, whether that be mentally, spiritually, physically, then that's a good person to associate with, because you're also doing that, and it's just going to help you. It's just going to help you grow even more, right? But if you're around people who want to stay the same, are stagnant, or even worse, you see them going down a bad path, when you're trying to grow, you might have to distance yourself from them, and you might have to cut them off, which is going to be a hard thing to do. So just keep in mind that you don't want to hang around people who aren't going to bring you up and bring you to your goals faster. You want to get away from them and let them do their thing. Start to think a bit bigger about where you're heading. Start to create a vision of where you want to be in a year, 3 years, 5 years. Take the time and sit down, maybe, for a week, a month. Sometimes this even takes a couple months, right? Do it every day for 30 minutes and come up with something that inspires you, that pushes you forward. Because as you're doing all this, as you're going through the hardships of all this and the struggle, you're going to need something that reminds you of where you're going. You're going to need a vision of, I'm here right now, I'm not in the best place and I don't have a dream physique. I don't have the income or the business that I really want. I'm not able to do the things that I want to do in life. You need to have a vision that will take you from that to a more ideal situation, because that's the journey that you're on, and you need the end goal to really remind you and inspire you and give you that motivation to keep pushing. So really think about thinking big, about a big vision, and it doesn't have to be materialistic or super complex or anything. It can be whatever you want, right? Your vision is your own, but something that inspires you so that when you see it, when you read it, when you think about it, it will give you that slight little boost to just keep going, right? To just keep pushing through, because you know why you're doing it. It's kind of like your why. Why am I doing all this, right? I'm not just doing it for no reason. There has to be a vision that you're heading towards so that you can continue to keep that motivation and that inspiration and really push yourself in the hard times and the dark times, because those are the times that you want to give up. Those are the times that you think that it's not worth it. And if you don't have a vision, well, there's no reason to keep going. So really think about maybe creating that for yourself. With that vision though, just make sure that you also have specific goals about, how you're going to achieve that. Because again, just having a vision is great, but that's really more of like a dream of where you're headed. And you need to have specific goals on how to get you there. And so just keep those two things in mind. Start thinking bigger about what you can achieve, and don't underestimate yourself. Create a vision that really challenges you and makes you excited, and have specific goals that are attached along that journey, so that you know that you're moving toward it, and you're actually, you need like those little milestones to kind of give you that boost of excitement and like, like I actually did something, I actually achieved something here. I'm on the right path. So I really think that this year is the year to really focus and to get laser focused and achieve what we want, and to stop spending so much time focused on the external world and things that we can't control. Because the more you do that, the more you're just going to stay the same, and the more time you're spending and giving to energy to things that really are not going to help you in the long run achieve what you want. So that's it for today. Be sure to subscribe for more self-improvement content. The next video to watch is going to appear on screen. If you're interested, I will see you there.